You're at a space called Now Common. We're a business called Now Creative Group. We're a design studio, marketing space, and we love helping people get their ideas into action. So this is one of the ways you can do that, which is crowdfunding.
I found that through that journey and working with filmmakers at this organization, that filmmakers needed to use social media in order to build their crowdfunding platforms. Because crowdfunding and social media are basically synonymous. You really can't have one without the other for a lot of crowdfunding campaigns. And so that led me to looking at crowdfunding and getting an MSc focused in the monetization of social media specifically for the purpose of filmmaking. And yeah, now I have the Social Smiths. I
eventually fell into consulting, and I fell into crowdfunding specifically is because I was just saying yes to every kind of job. Like, I love helping people get more sales.
I ended up partnering with an industrial design firm that was like, hey, we can make this look great, and we'd be willing to help you out with the funding if you could do a crowdfunding campaign, give us a bit of the back end of it. But you're going to need a great crowdfunding manager, you're going to need this, that, and that to make that work. I was like, okay, let me try. And so Kirsten Ross was recommended to me, actually through several people. So I filmed a little video and said, you know, this is my product. This is the system I want to try and create. You know, would you work with me? We got on the call and we met for coffee. She agreed to work with me, which was great. So then I'll talk more about this later, but we got to work on a Kickstarter.
You need that audience to buy your product and give you early momentum on the first day to kind of prove to the platform that you're a new and hot project. When you're popular, they're going to boost you to front page. And if you get front page, that's how you start to create a viral snowball effect of taking advantage of a bunch of people who don't know about your campaign. And that's how you can really start to spike the numbers. One great learning thing from Chris's campaign is we did 2 separate campaigns. In the first campaign, we kind of had an idea who our customer was. We made a bunch of assumptions of like the 5 different places and ways they're going to use the Jamstack, but we realized that our marketing was a little too broad, and so part of that 4 months in between campaign 1 and campaign 2 is really learning about who our customer is and refining the marketing perspective. But anytime you do paid media for a brand new product, it's a crapshoot. You don't know who your demographic is, you don't know interests, you don't know. It's going to be very expensive to collect an email address until you could start to give yourself 2 to 3 months of a testing period to see, oh hey, it's actually this really cool audience. Like, runners are the ones that resonate with the ads. I would say in a perfect world, perfect budget, I'd give yourself 4 to 6 months to do this before you launch.
Yeah, and I'm going to bolster that and also agree that more time is more better. 6 months, not just to build your community, but also to be thinking about developing your campaign. Because the time it takes to start building an audience on its own, that's going to take a tremendous amount of time.
To me, a successful campaign is one that not only gets funded, but also delivers product to backers. So a lot of the times we get questions like, what is the right time to raise money for my product? And my answer is for physical products, you need to be as far along in the manufacturing process as possible. So you get idea, you go get a prototype to make sure it works. It's so important to scope out your prototype, understand your costs, understand how much you need to charge per unit on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, or else you could be shooting yourself in the foot later on when you raise $100,000 and realize you don't have enough money because the thing costs too much. Before you fund, need to have a prototype. We raise money only for an idea, and what ended up happening with this was after we raised $500,000 in pre-orders, we then go to a prototyping firm and realize that what we had raised money for was not actually possible.
You applied for a loan, for example, from Futurepreneur BC. By the way, another great place to get money.
Yes.
They ask for those things. Do you know your factory costs? What are your tooling costs? What is it going to cost for fulfillment? How are you going to fulfill? And you need to have like Excel files.
When you are pitching, focus on the product that you're launching. Okay, don't focus on the launch, focus on how your product is different.
What really helped me was there's 100 billion podcasts in the world.
Oh yeah.
And people that want to interview at every level. And I've done tiny podcasts, I've done quite big ones along the way. Every time though, and a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't have an hour right now because I've got so much stuff to do. But every time I've done it, I go, wow, I figured out a better way to communicate what the value is to a different kind of person or a different audience. So if you have someone to interview you, it could be your brother, it could be someone who's doing a small podcast or maybe even a bigger podcast. They're looking for for people that if it's the right niche, that's a great way to learn how to communicate, because you end up kind of saying things as someone's grilling you, and you end up getting better at it every time you do it.
Absolutely. And the key thing too, I think at the beginning, don't be picky. Just go ahead and talk to anybody. Don't look at their Facebook stats and go, oh, they only had like 100 followers. I don't know if it's worth my time. You're building relationships, and you don't know as well a year down the line whether that person might have blown up and now they're at 2,000 followers that are really engaged. Give back a lot at the beginning to get back later. That's so important.
So if your budget's really tight, I recommend trying it yourself. There are a lot of people from everywhere, from the whole range of people that you can pay to do it to.
And if you're wondering, like, if you want to throw some money at testing, like, just say you don't want to do Facebook ads for your campaign, that's cool. But I do recommend you put aside $100 or $200 for testing different audiences, at least because you're testing people who there's no bias because they don't know you. It's a cold audience, and you get real hardcore data. And I think spending the $100 to $200 on ads purely for testing is a good spend.